We're going to start now. Let me do a bit more. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay. Yeah, so hope you're all able to see my screen. Yeah, so I again created a new React app. Why I have created a new React app? Because we are going to learn hooks today, and previous was already there, and this code we are going to continue till tomorrow because hook will take 2 days, and class-based React took us 3 days, and next 2 days will be hook-based React, and you can do a lot of projects from my channel. I have a lot of React projects, so that is how to become a web app developer. See, I always say it is today you only need the CSS, JavaScript, and ReactJS skills to get a job. The moment you even showcase 5-6 JavaScript project and 5-6 ReactJS project on your LinkedIn profile, you'll get a job. I'm not going to stop you, but you should know what is ReactJS, because it is not like everybody is going to ask you questions after that. There will be means maybe a coding round will be there, or maybe something like that, coding round, because I was talking to a lot of people. They were telling me that they have coding round in which they have to share their skin, because I also take coding rounds. I don't take any theoretical round. I had taken a lot of interviews. So I also take all these coding rounds and all. I take all these coding rounds in which I ask people a lot of questions, and uh, not theoretical, all the questions. I give them some small tasks to do in half an hour or 1 hour, and they have to create that. Mostly API tasks I give them. Okay, so that is there which I do. And so let's get started now today with our hooks based React. So what is hooks? So hook was introduced in 2020 mid with React version. So this is the version 16.8. It was released because React team felt that class-based component was having some issues, like that we have already seen that this keyword is a very big issue in class-based component. Class-based component, the lifecycle methods are a bit complicated, and all those things are there. And plus there were some technical issues also. Class was not minifying properly. So React is all about speed. It is not only about speed, it is about super speed. So even that 1 microsecond, 1 micro or 1 nanosecond speed is also also very much important for React. Why? Because React is used internally in Facebook. Facebook.com gets more traffic than Google also. So Google is like just a search engine. Okay, it doesn't have that level of traffic. It have that level of traffic, but Facebook have this all post and all those things. A lot of things goes. It's a very heavy app. It's not like a Google. It's a very heavy app. It 3 billion people are on Facebook. So even those that nanoseconds are very important in Facebook. So they use React, and they were finding that that minification thing was issue with class based. So they are moving slowly towards functional component, and whatever they do, and they release it to everything. They release it to the community, because React is a completely open source project. And now everybody loves these hooks. So even I have talked to a lot of people, they don't want to do class based at all. But it is not like that. Class based is always there, and you have to learn in the class based, because you don't know, React have not retired class based. So they're not going to go the Angular way, who have changed everything in Angular. No, they're not going to do that way. So class based is already, they always will be there. They're never going to retire the class based, but they are moving through functional based a lot. A lot of the external libraries which React, you require a lot of external libraries, which is not the case with Angular, which I have just done at 7. But React requires a lot of external library. Like Redux is a very important library, which I'm going to do next week. Then React Router is a very important library, which I don't have time, but you can go through my channel. React Router is very easy. So I have 2 very good videos on React Router, version 5 and version 6. So you can go through them, and they all are having their custom hooks made. So let us start now. And we are going to first create a class-based component. Why? Because we are going to change that class-based component into a functional component. So there are only 2 more most important hooks. One is the use state hooks, one is the use effect hooks. Those are the 2 most important hooks. One through which, through use state, we have state in React, and through use effect, we have lifecycle methods in functional component. So let us do that. So this is a completely scratch project. So that's why this React logo is coming. And I'll have a components folder here. Good evening. And please do like and subscribe. I've seen all of you people come. You don't even like my videos. Means I'm doing so much for all of you people. Please do like it. The moment you come, please do like it, and then subscribe also. If you're not yet subscribed, and if you subscribe with other IDs also. Okay, so that is there. And in this components, I will do a class counter dot js. As I've told, I'm going to do a class based first, and the class based I'm going to convert it into a functional. So earlier there was no state concept in functional component, but now we have. So this class component, class counter I'm having, and let me have a class based RCC. Okay. Should I increase the font size? I think it is okay. If someone wants to increase the font size, they can tell. I will increase it. Okay, so this class counter I have created, and here I will have a simple const I'll have, and here I'll have this as this dot state, and count is 0. This is red, and count is 0. Then yeah, the count is 0. A simple counter we are going to create, and then here let me have a button. Button, and count will be this dot state dot count. Button will be like this, and let me save this much first, and let me see whether it is coming. So I will have to go to the app.js this way, and we're going to add this. So I will remove this all, remove this, and class counter I will have like this. Save it, and it will show this count like this. It will show a count, and which is 0. By default it is 0. So let us increment it, and to increment it we are going to just, we know how to increment it. So on click equal to like this. Let me do one thing. Let me increment it here itself. What I can do, I can create a this dot increment count kind of a function, but I will do it here itself. Okay. Because we have to increment the count, we have to change it to this dot set state. This dot set state, and in the set state I have to pass the count is this dot state dot count. If someone is attending have attended the Angular class also, and they are attending this React class also, I can see, I think someone will be there who are attending both of them. I just want to ask, and both of them for the first time, React and Angular. I would ask one thing: are you finding Angular much more easier or React much more easier? I would ask that question. You can type that in the chat. If you're attending both of them, please tell. I'm really curious to know that. Okay, so this I have done. So this will change our state like this. This is our set state, and it will change it. The moment I click it, it will change the state. So it will re-render this component. So the count will be changing. So I will click it, and it is count is changing where. So this is something like a class-based component. So now we are going to change it to a hook counter. So how to do a hook counter? And earlier there were no state in functional component, but now we have a state in functional component. So let me come here and do a hook counter.js or counter.js and RACE I'm going to do, and then here I'm going to have this return, and then const count and set count, and we can use a use state like this also, but nobody uses it like this. Everybody like to import it, and I also like to do this use import. So it is like use state like this, and now instead of this I will have again same thing. Okay, I have this button I'll have, and inside this I'll have a hook count is like count. See, we don't have anything like state here, so we'll do it like this: hook count, and Let me go through it. Okay, let me complete the code then, because this is this much only. So then I will explain what I have just done. Then I will explain. Okay, so there will be on click handler. On click handler will be there, which will be equal to on click handler. This is there. Same thing, we're calling it here only. Set count is count plus one. Save it, and I'll have this one also here. Hook counter. Save it. This hook counter is there. If I click it, it will working fine. So what is this hook counter and how it is it is different than this? Okay. So see what happened in the class based counter. This in the constructor we have a this dot state, but we don't have the this keyword or something like this in hook. In a hook based functional component, we have something known as hooks. So hooks are something which React has created internally, like this use state hook. This is a keyword. This is not like anything I've taken. This use state hook is like this. And see, it is using something array destruction, which we have seen in ES6. Array destruction is using count and set count. It is given and the use state. So what does that means? This count is zero initially. Count is zero initially. It is zero. This zero. Count is zero initially. And then this, what is the set count? Set count is something similar to set state. But here we have a generic name like set state for everything. And one more thing is that here this dot state is an object. Here it can be anything. This is not an object. This is just a string. Number means, but here it's an object. And that's why when you do the this dot set state, we have to do it inside a like this. And there is no this dot set state. Every state variable will have a different thing, like the set count is there, like then set name will be there, set something else will be there. So if you have to have 10 state variables, you will have this line 10 times. You'll have this line 10 times will be there. Set count, set something, set something. But and this is again, this is not a keyword, but we should do it like this because that is what the industry standard is like this. Count, set count means this should be camel case and it is like that. And here set state was keyword, but here it can be different things. So I can have 10 state variables and it will have 10 different names. Okay, and you have to use this thing then 10 different types. So this is how it works, and everything else is like same. Whenever this set count is running, set count is updating, and see the set count updating is also a different thing because it is not an object. We don't have to use this kind of thing. We can use directly count plus one, and there is no this or something is there. So count plus one, I'm directly updating it. And the other thing is that means it is maybe it is like a more cleaner code, but because it is not an object, we have little bit of issues also with that. And sometimes I find that you're writing more code in hook, because if I will have, because I have worked in big projects in which hooks were there, so in that what happens, you have 10-15 state variables, but here what happens, you only one state variables, you'll do comma and you can add it all. But that is like that is how to see it. But hooks are anyways the future, and everything future and present also, and classes are past. So that is how we use it. And see, sometimes even if you teach someone hook from the starting, they will find it much more easier. They won't even need to learn the classes. A lot of people think like that. Okay, so that is there. And this is how hooks are used. Okay, and class based. So we are not ending with use state here, because there are a lot of things to learn in use state, because we are here, it's an object, here it's not an object, it can be anything, and that causes some issues, and that we need to know those issues, how to fix those issues. And let us also know some of the other thing of the use state, like special cases of the use state and all. Okay, so next thing which I'm going to do is the is here hook counter 2.js, hook counter 2.js, and here okay, so I'm having another class like hook counter 2, and then here let us have const initial count. I have an initial count variable. Then const count comma set count is use state initial count, and this use state, so nothing much there, but only that thing is that I'm using this use state and I'm giving this initial count. Okay, that is there. Then after this, I will have count of count, and then I will have some buttons. Okay, so one will be the reset, and we have 3 times. One will be the reset button, in which the reset button I'm doing the initial count. Then one will be the increment, and this will be easy only, and this will be count +1 and count -1. I'll have save it, and now let us have this hook counter to here. That let me remove this, save it, and see reset, increment, and all these things are there. Now increment is working fine. Okay, this is actually decrement, save it. Decrement is also working fine, and reset is also working fine. So this is how you can do it. But now we are going to see the same thing which we have seen in the class base also. If I want to increase something very fast, means if the state is changing very fast, so that issue is here also. We'll face that issue, and we'll have to use that previous state thing. So I'm telling you initially only we have to use the previous state thing. Good morning, good evening, everyone. Okay, so let us have an increment 5 button. Okay, so button, I am not having one thing. Okay, so some setup is there. So see, this JSS is not telling me. Well, I'll do it later on. Okay, button and increment 5 is there, and then on click equal to increment 5. Okay, so this increment 5, it is calling this function. Save it, and we don't have any issue of this binding and all also here, because we don't have issue of this itself. Okay, so increment 5 equal to like this, and but then also we should use arrow function. Okay, for let I equal to 0, I is less than 5, I plus, and then set count is count +1. Set count is count +1. Just set count is there, which is the count +1 is there. Set count is count +1. Just I'm running this 5 times. I could have do this set count also 5 times, but this is what I'm doing. Set count is count +1. I will save it. Now increment 5 button is also there, and as always I will press the increment 5. So it will only increment 1 time. And this issue we find it there in the class base also. Why it was coming there? Because when React sees a lot the set state or something like that, set count in this case is doing in a very fast rate, is happening at a very fast rate, is happening very soon, it optimizes things, and it doesn't work. So what we have to do? So we have to use that previous state or previous count, whatever you can say. We have to use that. Okay, so we have to use it like that, then only it will work. So we'll use priv. Take actually anything. Priv count is like priv count +1. Save it. Now I'll increment it. So it will increment by 5. It will increment by 5. And if I have done it here, so I should do it in the whole project also, because it doesn't seem good like I have not done it here. Just do it. It is not required. But if I am using this previous state kind of thing, I should use it like this. So increment will also work, and decrement will also. So this is one of the things which is there. Okay, so the next thing which we are going to do, as I have told, there is a issue. There is an issue actually with use state, because why is that issue? In the class based, the state is always an object. There is some benefit of having it as an object, But here we can have it as anything, have it as a means number. But if you have it as an object, it causes some issue, and we are going to see that issue, and we are going to learn how to rectify it. There is a small thing which you need to do to rectify it, and we are going to do that. Okay, so yeah, close this, and then I'll have a hook counter free.js. So counter free.js I'll have, and okay, this I'm going to have, and then okay, const name comma set name equal to, so there's the name and set name is there, but it will not be, first thing is that it will not be like this empty string and all. It will be an object. It will be an object. Okay, first name and last name, two things will be there, first name and last name. So you can take anything, like first name and last name will be there, so that is there. And then inside this we'll have a form. Yeah, okay, we'll have a form, and this form I will have a input type equal to text, and value equal to name dot first name, and on change. We all know we have control component in React. We always have to do this thing. On change equal to like set name, not like this. Set name is like first name is e dot target dot value is there, and I have to self prorate like this. So type text value is the, now this is the last name, and it will be last name is e dot target dot value. It is all okay. So next just input it h2 like first name is like name dot name, last name is name dot last name. This is there. So counter 3 is there, and then we're going to just show it in the app. Okay, let's see. First name and last name has been shown. We have this box is there, so I will enter. Okay, and I will enter last name. See, the moment I'm entering Nabendu, the Bishwas, the Nabendu is going. So why it is happening like this? I enter something here. It is gone. Last name is gone. So let us further see this issue, why it is happening, and see. In React, what happens if you want to see something here, and this is another trick. This is another trick, means if you see something inside a render function, you cannot do a console.log here, because why? What is render? Render is something which is rendering on the screen. You cannot do a console.log here. That is not possible. So what we need to do is like a h2 and JSON dot stringify and name, JSON dot stringify name. So I can see what is there in the name. So JSON dot stringify is something which stringifies the thing. So this is an object. It will stringify the whole object. Okay, so it will come like this. Okay, so let me refresh it. Let me come back again. So I'll do Bindu first name. This was, see what just happened. So the object, the first name was removed. When I'm typing in the last name, it is removed, and when I'm typing in the first name, the last name is removed. Why it is happening? This is happening because the object property by default in a class-based component, what happened? Everything is an object. So there is something like object updating and merging. So that is done automatically in a class-based thing. We don't have to do something like that in class-based. But here it is not done automatically. So whenever I'm typing this in the first name, so the last name is just, it is like losing, we are losing the last name. typing in the last name, we are losing the first name. So that is happening. So how to fix it? So we are going to take use of our spread operator to fix it. So dot name comma, okay, it is okay, dot name, and then here also dot name comma is there. Save it. So what is happening right now? See, if I'm typing in the first, a person cannot type in two places at the same time. So I'm typing in the first name. So whatever there is in the last name, it will be taken with this dot name. Whatever is there in the last name, it will be taken from the first name. Okay, so it is there like this. I will type Nabendu. See, now the last name is also there. This was the both of them are coming. So whenever we are doing it in a, whenever a state is an object in a functional component, we have to have both of them. Okay, we have to have this dot spread operator we have to have. Okay, so similar issue we have with array also, but we now know the similar issue is there in array. So we are going to not, I'm not going to again show this error and all, but we are going to see how to use it in an array. So for that, what I'm going to do is the hook counter for.js I'll do, and then 𝐈𝐍𝐓 is there. Then I'll have a const items and set items is like the use state. So now it's an array, empty array, and I have to import it also. So it will not, or else it shows a lot of error. So let me make it a fragment, and let me have a button now. Button will be add a number. Oh, why do you have such a big name? Add number. On click will be equal to add item, const add item equal to like this. Okay, now set items is like, see, we know that I have to do this dot thing. So I am going to do this dot thing from the add only, dot thing. And what I want, see what I want here, see whenever the user presses this add number, so it should add a object, and that object will have an ID and a value. I will take anything random. So ID is like items dot length, items dot length. Why does p dot prevent default is coming? This is not a form, so e dot prevent default is not required. Value is like math dot random into 10. So Prashant, that e dot prevent default is not required. This is not a form, just a button. Prevent default is always required in a form, and especially when you have a submit handler, then only it is required. Or there is, even inside a form, it is not required if you don't have a submit handler. Okay, so that is there. So ID is items.length. So why I did the ID as items.length? This is very important to understand why I did the ID as items.length. Items length is initially zero because this item is an empty array. So initially it will be taken as 0, and when I click it, see, I will also do a console log so that it will be much more easier to understand. Okay, so let me do a console log also. So console log you can do outside console.log. Okay, items, I'll do the console.log of items. Okay, now that will be much more easier to understand. Let me do the console log and then let me show it. Okay, so I'll go here and hook counter 4, hook counter 4. I'll do save it, and then there, and these things are there. So add a number is there, and right now it will show it in the console whatever I do it. So console I go, initially empty array is there. Initially also when it renders, the item is an empty array. So it is showing line number 10. Then I'll add a number. See, add a number, what it did, it just added an object. What is that object? ID of 0, because items.length is 0 and value is random. Value is anything random. Again click to another object is been added here, because this dot items is there. So another object has been added and ID is 1 because length was already 1, and it took a random thing and it just added it. So that is how it is work. So we are seeing this in the console, but console seeing is not enough. We want to show it in the UI. So how to do that? Just we have to do it because we got this item. We just have to map through it. This is how we show it in the UI. UL. I'll do UL and then okay, items dot map, and item is there. Item dot map, and item is there, and then align item dot value and key equal to item dot key, item dot id. So that is a benefit of it taking a unique ID. So that's React always need a unique ID. That we all know. So item dot value, I do save it. We're not going to have much. Already two were there, so it is showing like this. Then I'll add it, and it will add a random thing. It will add a random thing. So this is how it works. It was not to show this thing. It was to show that dot 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 item is required. If you even take a array, okay, spread operator is required. Okay, so that is there, and yes. Okay, so now we are going to move to the next thing, and the next thing is the next most important hook, which is known as a use effect hook. Use effect hook is the second most important hook. Sometimes I think it is the first most important hook, because see what happened with the use state. We replaced the we added the state concept in the functional component. We down the next concept, which was not there in the functional component, was what? Was having that lifecycle matters. Lifecycle matters are actually very important in production project, because we do a API call through component did mount only. So something like that is required. So and more, a lot of other cases also that we're going to see that. But let me tell one more thing. See, when I was telling the lifecycle method in the previous class, I told that there are a lot of lifecycle methods, but actually only 3 are used. See, by default, constructor is not there in a class-based component. So in functional component, so that is not there. Constructor is not there, and render is by default. Return is also only like a render. But there are 3 lifecycle methods which are used in a functional component, and which React team thought they are important, so they have added in a functional component. One is component did mount, which was running during the initial mounting. One is component did update, which was running during the means when I was changing the state or something like that. And one is component will unmount, which we have not seen, which we will see today. Component will unmount, so it runs during the unmounting phase. So use effect. So we have, but the problem is that this is somewhat a difficult concept to learn. We have only one hook which replaces all the lifecycle method, all 3 lifecycle methods. So we have to use it in different ways. So there are different patterns to use it, that use effect, so that it behaves as a component did mount, it behaves as a component did update, or it behaves as a component will unmount. So let us do that. So for that, again, we are going to go here and class counter one.js, I'll do, and RCC and class counter one I have taken, and this render is there. And so first we're changing doing the class based, and then we're going to change it to a hook based. Okay, so that is again what we are doing. Then class based is this, so our const is there, and here we'll have a count of 0. We'll have like this, and then in the render I'll have this button, and we'll have this click, this state times, on click equal to this dot set state. It's like count is this dot state dot count plus 1. Okay, so just how we change the state, and which I have seen this earlier, but I'm going to add something more soon. So let us first have this. So the class counter, and it is working fine. We have seen this earlier also. But what I want to do now, I want to change this React app you're seeing in the title. I want to change this React app to replicate this thing. So whatever is there, I want to show that. So for that, what we are going to do, first thing, we are going to use the document.title to change that thing, but we have to put it somewhere. We cannot put it in the constructor, because constructor runs even if the component is mounted. We want it component to get mounted. So the best, we want to have it after the render. So the way to do it is in the component did mount. So we'll have this component, and this is some really use case scenario of component did mount. And in the previous thing, what I've shown, it's like a console log thing. But see, you are not seeing a real use case scenario. So component did mount I'm doing, and document dot title is equal to click. These are the state times. I'm doing it. Okay, click this is state dot times, and see here also click this is state dot times is coming. Click 0 times and click 0 times. But I will, so during the initial mount it is coming. But if I click this thing, 1 is getting increased, but this is still 0. It is still 0 because why? Component did mount doesn't run during the re-render. So whenever we change the state, we are changing the state here. It will not run at that time. At that time, we have to use the component did update. So we have to update this code with component did update, and we'll have the same thing. Document.title is click now this many times. So again, see, first time it ran, component did mount is ran. Second time, I'll click here. It is also increasing. It is also increasing, and this is also increasing because the component did update is running. Now this is how the class-based thing is done. Now we're going to change this thing to a hook-based thing. The hook-based thing we are going to change. So for that, we come here, and here I have a hook counter 5.js, and then here ReactJS is there, and like this, and hook counter 5 is there, and fonts font and set font is like used it. So because we need to have this thing, and role we have to use this used it. So first let us have this without, means first see that it is coming or not. So button is click count times, and on click is like equal to set count is count plus 1 I'm going to have, and then this is there, and let me save it, and count 5 is like count 5 and count 5. I'm going to have this thing counter 5, all these things I'm going to have, and why it is coming, because sometimes it doesn't go, so you have to refresh it. So count 5, click 0 times, and this is working, but we have to now change it. So how to do it? Because there is no lifecycle method in hook-based component. There is no lifecycle method. The component did mount, component did update, all of those things are not there. So here we have something known as use effect, which replaces everything. So we'll come here, and this use effect I'm going to do use effect, and use effect came there, and then so this is something which we have to do it like this. Okay, use effect we have to do like this. It's take a function and call it. It means function call is been made here, and then I'll do a document dot title is equal to click count times. I'm going to do okay. So click count times I've done. Okay. So what I just did, why I just made it only one thing. Okay. Now let us see whether it is working or not. So click 0 times is coming here. That means the component did mount worked. component did not work. That means that because something like component did not work. Component did not might have not worked, but something like component did not work, which ran during the initial mount. Now I'll click here. This is also increasing. This is also increasing. Means something like component did update is also working. So this is how we use the use effect in the component did mount and the component did update way. So there are different modes in use effect. Use effect is actually used in 4 ways. I think 4 ways only. I have to check. We are going to do that, and you're going to understand. So there are 4 ways in which you can do use effect. So in the other thing, we are going to see that we might pass some parameter here or something like that. So this is the most common way in which what happens, it will run as a component did mount plus component did update way. That's why I always say that class-based component are very important to learn, because if I'm going to say that, okay, I want to run the hook use effect hook in the component did mount and the component did update way, what does that mean? Nobody knows what does that mean. Because a lot of people ask me this question, why not directly go to hook base when the class base is getting means nobody is going to use it. If I'm going to go to a very good startup, nobody is going to use a class based company. But what if we are going to a service based company? It's not always like everybody goes to a startup. Okay, so I have my student, one of my student is there, he doesn't like startups. He wanted to work in a service based company. So I have to find a means he was very good, so he only means I have to find a job for him, like for a service based company, and I guided him to get a job in TCS. It is not like TCS doesn't have ReactJS job. He's a ReactJS developer in TCS. Okay, and he got on its own, because all of my student, one of my paid student, and I'm going to have that again the night class starting from 28th of February to 8th of February. So if anybody interested, they can see me. So I might also give the link also today, so in the description, so you can check it out. So I have a 100% placement ratio right now in the night batch. Okay, so that is there. So let us go ahead with the use effect. Okay, so as I've told, there are a lot of other ways to use the use effect. So now we'll see the conditional use effect. So something known as conditional use effect, how to use that and use a conditional use effect. So let me create a new function file here so that you all can get this. Okay, so class counter to.js, class counter to.js is there, RAFC. No, it is not RAFC, RCC. Again, we are going to see it like that. I always default class counter to there, and then let me copy all of these things from here, because we are going to use it. All of these things, most of these things are like this only what I'm going to use. So I'll copy this thing, save time. But what we're going to have extra here, we're going to have another state variable here. So I will do it with the comma, name is equal to like this. Name is like empty string. So this empty string is there. So now I will have, okay, my empty string like this. It's looking bad. So I will have it inside a fragment, inside a fragment, because I want to have an input value also. So inside a fragment, I'll have a input type text. Value is the state.name. On changes, I'm having it here itself. So I will save it, and I will have one more thing here. In this component update, I'll have a console log. It is very important to have this console log. You'll soon see why. Console.log of updating document title is there. Updating document title, save it, and now we will use it. Save it. Okay, so click 0 times and it is coming. Both of them are coming. Inspect, I'll do. Console, I'll do. So now see one thing clearly. See, class counter2 is there. So I will click this thing and updating. Okay, I'll click this thing and see this. It is getting updated, and the console log is also getting increased. Updating document head, which is fine, which is totally fine. But if I'm going to type something here, then also this is getting updated. It should not. It should not. Why it should not? Because I'm not, my component did update was only for the title. It was not for this text and all. So if the text is also getting updated, I don't want this console log to fire. I don't want this component did update to fire at that time. Because see, in ReactJS are using very big web apps. Even these things causes the app to be slow. So as I've told earlier, the nanosecond is also counted in a ReactJS app because they're very big web apps. So web apps like Flipkart and all this are made in ReactJS. So you all know when Flipkart, if someone remember when Flipkart started 4-5 years back, every time during the Great Indian Sale, the site used to crash because all these things were not there. That much capable things were not there. Slowly everything used to getting evolved and all these things came. So all these things also go into performance optimization. So it should not run this component did update actually. So now what will happen? Now we have to use something here. So first I'll show the solution in the class base, then we are going to do it in the hook base also, and we are going to face the same issue in hook base also, and I'm going to show the solution in the hook base also. Okay, so what we have to do is component did update also take two more parameters. One is the priv ops comma priv state. These two parameters also it takes. So what I'm going to do, if priv state dot count is not equal to this dot state dot count, okay, then this will run, and that time only it will run. If previous state dot count is not equal to this dot state dot count, in that case only this will run. In that case only this will run. So what does that mean? See, I'm going to click it again. So when I am going to change this state, see, it is becoming 2. So there is something known as the previous state. Okay, I have not saved it, I think. So there is something known as previous state. Previous state is right now is previous state is 0 and the current state is 1. So previous state dot count is actually 0 is not equal to 1. So that's why this will run. So this will run every time. So this when this is run. But when I am doing this thing like Nabendu, I write anything. See, now this is not increasing. I'm writing Nabendu or anything I'm writing. So why it is not increasing? Because the previous state for count variable is still whatever is the this both of them are equal. Current state is also equal to the previous state. So this is not writing. This is how we do the performance optimization in the class based. So now we have to do this performance optimization in the hook based also. So we are going to do that. So here I'm going to do a hook counter 6.js, and this will be again a lot equal to hook counter 5. Okay, because we are going to have this document.title and all these things here. Okay, so but RAFC I have to do because the name is different. Save it. Then let me get the value from here. I got the value from there, and get this also, or else it will give me error. Save it. So this all these things are there, and then I have one more thing. So I will add that thing, and for that I would have to have a state const name. Set name is like this because we have to create another state variable here, because here we can do it like this, but here we have to create another variable, state variable like this. And here also I will have a console.log. Console.log use, let us have this updating document title. Updating document title is there. Then going to have this like this, and then alt and input type is text, value is name, on change is like this, target dot value is there. So it is working like this. And I have this console log also I have put. Okay, so I will do the go to this hook counter, save it. Again, I'll have this thing, and let me refresh it. Use effect, because by default it ran our component did mount way, and again I will click, it will update, but I will do it here also and it will update. So the same problem is there. We know why the problem happened. Okay, because but now we have to solve this problem, and here we had added us this complicated logic and all to solve that problem, so that it cannot be rendered again. But here it is very easy to solve this problem. Okay, so as I've told, there is something which we can pass it here. So I'll do this, and we have to pass some parameters. So here I will pass a count, and this is a very important thing. The count I have passed. So what does that mean? This means the use effect will run the initial time. Initial render, it will always happen. Component did mount generally always happen, but during the subsequent render, it will only change if the count variable is changing. Not if some other variable is changing, like the name variable is changing, it will not run. If there are 10 variables and we want it to run only on 2 variables, you can give a comma, because I've seen that used in a production projects a lot. Production project, this performance thing is a very big deal, very big deal, because a big React project becomes slow over the time. Because I have worked in React which goes for 2 years, and after the lines of code becomes more, it becomes slow. So those things are there. So then what I'm going to do here I'm going to first click this. So this is updating. Now come back and do, and it is not updating. So the same thing. So it will only update when this count is updated. So this we are seeing the second way, use effect of conditional rendering, use effect of conditional render. These are the 2 ways which we have seen. Now we have some more ways also here. So let us see those more ways. Okay, so we have done enough of counter thing. So counter, I can continue with counter. We are going to do something else now. So there are 2 more ways. There are 4 ways in the use effect runs. So now what we are going to do, we are going to learn use effect only once. Means in the component did mount way, I want to run it. So for that, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to do a class mouse.js, I'm create, and in here I will create RCC like this. Okay, export default class mouse, the const is there, and here x will be there, which will be 0, comma, a variable y will be there, which will be 0. These 2 will be there. Now in the render, let me have a h1, and I will have a x, which will be this dot state dot x, and comma, y is this dot state dot y. So these 2 things we have. Save it. Now we want the mouse position to be tracked. Okay, so class mouse, copy this, class mouse, and copy this. So x and y have been shown, but I want this thing to be changed and as I move the mouse. So how to do that? So in the component did mount, I will run an event listener. Okay, in the component did mount, I will run an event listener, which will be like window dot add event listener. So event listener also is a JavaScript thing, but we can add it in React. But we should always add it in component did mount. Why? Because event listener, even in the JavaScript project, we added it only once. We should not add the event listener more times. So that's the reason I'm using component did mount. Component did mount, add event listener, mouse move, and update chords, okay, or log mouse position. Log mouse position is there, and then I'm going to close it. Okay, and then this mouse move event listener will be fired whenever the mouse is moving. So this is there. Then this log mouse position is there. Log mouse position equal to, we are going to use the arrow function in a class based. It is very much required to use that, and we're going to have it this dot set state. What I'm going to do here, okay, x is e dot client x and y is e dot client y. So what is this client x and client y? These are something which is given to us JavaScript and not JavaScript, actually by the browser. So we can track the position of x and y. So the moment I move the mouse, it will change it x and y position. So it will re-render this thing and everything will be shown. And component mount is only running once. Okay, so this event listener is running only once. So I'll come here and just move the mouse. See, it is changing. It is changing. So this is how it is changing all the positions. It is changing. So now we have to change it to a hook based thing. So how to change it to a hook based thing? So let us go back here, and then here I'll create a hook mouse.js I'm going to do, and then RAFCE as always, and first thing we have to have x and y position. So we will have two state variable, const x comma set x to use state of 0 and const y comma this. Okay, so that is there, and then we are going to import it also. Use state is imported, and then here h1 and hooks is like only x and y is like only y. Let me have a comma between them. So this is there, and then let us have this hook mouse and hook mouse is there. Now that is there, and hook x and hook y is there, and now so render I have shown actually in the class based component. Render is required in the class based component. Okay, so go back to that class based component, render are required. So it is like this, render is required in the class based component, this render thing. It is like it will run again and again whenever the state is changed. So render is required there. Okay, so that is a very old topic which I have told. Okay, so that is there, and then we are going to do the how to do a component did mount. Actually, how to do a component did mount. So the component did mount we have to do. Okay, oh, let me give the attendance first, because I think we have to do a bit more today. Okay, mark your attendance here. Okay, so where were we? Okay, so hook. So I have to do the component did mount. So how to do the component did mount way? So I'll come here and use effect. I'm going to do again use effect, and like this I'm going to have, and let's have a console.log also. Console.log hook use effect called. So let's have that thing. Then again we're going to have this window dot add event listener, and mouse move and lock mouse position is there, And so const logmost position equal to e, and set x is like, so here we're going to have a set x, because set x and set y are there, set x and set y are there here, set x and set y. This is how it works here. So normal thing is save it. So but if I run it like this will run in a component did mount and a component did update way, and that will trigger the windows.add event listener a lot of time. That is a bad thing. So how to do it, how to run it as a component did mount way only? I don't want a component did update to run, so I can do that. I have to pass an empty array here. Empty array, it is very important. I have to just pass an empty array here. I have to pass an empty array here to have this thing. Okay, empty array here. I have to do, I'll do a right click and inspect, and go to the console and hook mouse. I have the hook mouse. Okay, so let me refresh it again. See, hook use effect called. So this was called. Then I will come here and it is changing, but it was not called again. It was not called again. So it means the use effect, whole use effect is only called once, because I gave this empty array. Because I gave this empty array, whole use effect was called only once. So this is the way. So we have seen three ways. Actually, I think I should end it here, because there is the other topic will take another 10-15 minutes, because use effect is not yet done. So we are left with one more way of use effect, which is the component will unmount way, which we are going to learn tomorrow. And tomorrow a lot of things will be done, and we will be completing with this hook based, and we are completing with React. After that, you all have to do a lot of projects to be a ReactJS developer. As after the moment you do only 5-6 projects in ReactJS, you'll get a job. That is my guarantee. You'll get a job. You post it on LinkedIn, tag me, and you'll get a job. So all of you might have seen a lot of things. People are tagging me and they are getting a job. So that is like that only. So make use of my 19,000 LinkedIn connections. I have 19,000 LinkedIn connection, and with all the top people in the industry I have connected, startup people and students and all those things. So even one like will make your post reach thousands of people. So that is like that, and we have completed here. And so we have learned three kind of use effect also. So we have learned a lot of things today, and all of these things are very important for you to get a job. Most of the companies are using functional component also only nowadays. So this is done means and I'll see you all tomorrow. And tomorrow will be the last day of React, and after that you all have to do a lot of projects, and there are a lot of projects on my channel. You all know there are a lot of projects on my channel. I will even give you the link for all those lot of projects. Okay, so this is our end today's stream. See you all tomorrow on day 5 and the final day of ReactJS. Thank you.